Thank you for having me here. And I'm very happy to be back here at the NCMJ. I was here, I think, 2 years ago. And it's lovely to be speaking to young blood again. So I must thank the team of SOMSI for selecting margins to mainstream. I think it's very important. Margins to mainstream is what effectively reflects what's happening in the industry, how the margins have really expanded and the boxes have been broken in the field of storytelling and journalism. But I'm not so sure a lot of you young students, because we're so much surrounded by content creation today, understand what margins is or what margins used to be and what really mainstream is, because we've managed to come out of the silos today. So margins used to be literally in established media houses and news publications. It really meant the side margin, the beats that went to the side margin. And mainstream was hardcore mainstream journalism that Ashutosh, of course, has been doing, politics, as we say. And it includes politics, elections, parliament sessions, crime stories as well. Citizen rights, civic issues, a lot of this was used to be part of mainstream and still is. You still see it in the front pages. You still see it in 8 p.m., 9 p.m. Shows on the news channels. And so that was like really the mainstay, the mainstream of journalism. And margins was something which was soft features, which was really on the side margins, on the weekend pages, and on the weekend slots, on the weekend shows of news channels. So that included soft stories, it included Bollywood, entertainment, lifestyle, culture, arts, design, sports as well. So these were how they were demarcated. And they still are, to a large extent, still in established media houses, because we've still been following the formula that has been there for decades. So I'd like to lead by my example, just to help you understand what we're really trying to have an overview here on this. When I started out as a field reporter, this was in 2001, 2002. So when you enter the best thing, of course, to learn everything is to be doing all the beats. So I did politics, business, soft stories, hardcore political news stories, all of it. And then once I did the culture beat as well, in which I spoke to artists, I spoke to writers, I spoke to leaders in the field of design, in the field of literature. And I realized, in fact, I really questioned the establishment at that time of news channels and publications on why this is on the margins, really, because artists, writers are thinking and making works of their creative expertise. They're creating works, they're creating a book, they're writing a book, they're creating an artwork, which is as much about mainstream issues. Artists are not all the time just doing lovely rose-tinted pictures of flowers and birds. That's not true. Artists are doing a lot of activism. Writers are doing a lot of activism. And art activism is a very important part of their existence. And they're talking about everyday issues. They're talking about mainstream issues by using a different language, by using the language of arts, by using the language of design, by using the language of writing poetry. So I remember when we were setting up CNN IBN, CNN News 18 that you have today, it used to be CNN IBN, and that's how it was founded in 2005. And my boss, Mr. Rajdeep Sardesai, he hired me as a news anchor because I used to do political news. But I told him that I'll go out in the field and report as well, but I don't want to be reporting politics. I want to be in the culture beat. So he created a designation for me. I was a political news anchor, but as a correspondent, I was known as the culture correspondent. So that beat was specially created because of my insistence on bringing that margin to mainstream news. And it was a challenge that I had to accept because I insisted on it. And it was about taking the culture beat stories out of the margins and putting it in his 8 p.m., 9 p.m. shows. It's like literally taking out a side digest and putting it on your front page. So mainstream issues like what's really, really important to a creative person. To a creative person, what's really important is freedom of expression, to be allowed to express what you want to using your expertise. And it's part of the Constitution, Article 19(1)(a), freedom of expression, as much for every citizen, every journalist. It's as much for those who are in the creative field as well. So there were a lot of freedom of expression issues that we raised and took up at behest of artists in favor of the creative people, and we brought that issue to mainstream. These were stories which were headlined in bulletins in the primetime evening band. And we spoke about, I covered the issue of plagiarism a lot. And plagiarism is when someone's copying your work. So when an artist makes a painting, anyone can make a fake painting as well and sell it at a cheaper price, or sell it at par at that price, but they're essentially selling a fake painting. I found out about one such place which was selling fake paintings. And me and my camera person, we did a sting operation. A sting operation is which you use for crime stories, which you use for scams. And selling fake art is also a crime, by the way. So it needs to be given that seriousness. So I went posed as an art buyer, wearing a spy camera on the button of my shirt. And my camera person went as my friend, carrying a laptop bag with a hidden camera inside the laptop. And we went there to the shop as interested buyers. This is what it was, fake art that was confiscated by the police. So we went there, we shot with our, thank you, how lovely. So, but it wasn't lovely when I was doing it, because I was getting threats from the shop. There was a case that was filed against me. I was sent court notices because this was an established shop, and we did a sting operation on this shop. So it was a fake M.F. Hussain. It was a set of these horses. M.F. Hussain is a very famous painter, and this shop was selling these huge, large canvases of about 8 feet by 10 feet in size. They were fake. They were not painted by M.F. Hussain, but he was telling me it's a real M.F. Hussain. One was he was selling to me for 80 lakhs, and the other he was selling me for 1 crore. The prices were genuine. At that time in 2006, that was the price that a genuine M.F. Hussain painting would sell for. So the prices were real, but the painting was not real. So we shot that entire interaction of him meeting me as an interested buyer and trying to sell me these works. And we took it to the police. The sting operation was aired on CNN India, CNN IBN, what it used to be. And the police confiscated the painting. They raided his shop. And several sections of the FIR, including 420, were slapped against him. And M.F. Hussain was informed about it. So that was, in my view, a paradigm shift that came, if I may say so myself, in the industry of looking at the art beat and culture beat seriously. I remember my friend, my colleague was in IBN 7 at that time, and it was the Hindi channel of CNN IBN, and IBN 7 picked up the story. Our business sister concern, which was CNBC also picked up the story. So it ran on 3 channels as primetime news, and of course on CNN India, it ran as a day driver. So this really brought about that paradigm shift in lending that seriousness to any beat. आप किसी भी मुद्दे पे जर्नलिज्म करिए, किसी भी मुद्दे पे आप एक कहानी करिए, स्टोरी लिखिए. It doesn't deserve to be pushed to the margins. Every story deserves to be on the forefront for the viewer to decide what they want to consume, really. So this was really quite the start of it. And fortunately, TEDx noticed this as well. And they called me for a talk. And the subject of the talk really was bringing arts journalism to mainstream news. And they wanted me to narrate my entire journey on how I made this happen in the industry. So that was a big thumbs up, I think. That was yet another encouragement here of really dealing with this issue. Like even Ravlini was saying that environment doesn't deserve to be pushed to the margins. Nothing that deserves to be pushed to the margins. I think if, as a journalist worth our salt, if we are telling a story, it has to be right there on the front page. the BRICS Media Forum that took place. It happened in Beijing. And they invited me as a delegate, as a press delegate, for representing and showcasing India's soft power and culture sector. Thank you. That was a big thing here because I was surrounded by press delegates from across 5 countries of the BRICS Nation Media Forum who were mainly political journalists, all of them. The second journalist who went from India was also covering politics. But I was chosen effectively just to be pushing India's soft power. And that's how I would like to define it as well. When you talk about the culture beat, it really is a country's soft power. I reached a stage in 2014 where I ended up launching my own web channel, which was Gunnar TV, making arts accessible. Today, it's very heartening for me to notice that everything is mainstream today. And that's because of the benefit of content creation. We're no longer dealing with newspapers, front page newspapers. We no longer, even though there are newspapers still coming out, there are news channels still working on their primetime debates and stuff. But content creation on social media has really broken all those boundaries. You can be doing a 9 p.m. show, but if no one's watching 9 p.m., unfortunately, there's no point in doing it because people are checking out other things on social media. So this is the power that you youngsters have today. You will enter the industry without being bothered about margin and mainstream. You'll be entering the industry with this tool of content creation in social media. And like one of your favorite Avengers, Marvel characters, Spider-Man says, with great power comes great responsibility. So it is a huge power that you have in your hand and a huge responsibility as well. Because in the name of content creation, you could even innocently making the mistake of bringing out something wrong or something fake or something that's false. So fake information and false news or hate speech. Hate speech is largely consumed on YouTube. And I don't know why YouTube doesn't filter that out. I mean, there are channels that are running, spreading anti-minority hate, spreading anti-people hate, making communities fight, and they're getting millions of views. And they're getting silver plate by YouTube. I think this is something that we need to really protest against, to raise our voice against YouTube, to get their act together. Hate speech should not be allowed to be propagated in that manner. So this is a responsibility that you guys have in your hands as well. When you're doing independent journalism, when you're doing independent content creation, report, talk, and write, shoot on stories that bring a positive change in people, that spread positivity, that spread peace, that bring happiness and harmony in people's lives, and that really help in people's lives. Issues raised that help in your life. So I would like to end on that note here, that you're entering the industry with this power, with this tool, but please use it responsibly as well, because all of us here have worked very hard to bring everyone here to this stage. Thank you very much.